Well, hello everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of the Rogues Passage podcast. I'm Tanner Cherry. This is another episode from the backlog. We recorded this, I think, at the beginning of April 2023. We just want to slug these out and get them on the record because we thought they were good. It's not exactly topical, just like the last one. I think it's right when the battle cards were unveiled to us, so we discussed sort of instant reaction as to like what that card type and what it would do to change the game of Magic. We also talk a lot about the One Ring, which at this stage right now has not been found, or at least if it has, it hasn't been unveiled. But anyway, it was a fun podcast. It was just the three of us shooting the shit, and give us a little bit of time. We'll catch up, and we'll be fresh. We'll be getting these out right after we do them. But for now, enjoy episode 2 of the Rogues Passage podcast, and I really hope you see us on the next one. See you guys later.
Hello, everyone. It is us, the Rogues Passage boys.
Wonderful. Couldn't have been more creepy. Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. This is, I guess, this will be our second episode of the Rogues Passage podcast.
Yes, it is.
Pending second episode. We don't know how some of this stuff is going to get released.
Guaranteed, this is an episode of our podcast. Yeah. Thanks for coming. I'm Tanner.
I'm Brady.
And I'm Brandon. Today we have quite a few different topics concerning a lot of the stuff that's going on, mostly in the Magic community, and I guess just overarching Wizards of the Coast kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I think the first up was
battle cards.
Yeah, we were confused as to what they did, what we expected and everything, and how I was completely wrong about what got revealed to us.
Did we actually do any, like in the last episode, did we do like specifically what we thought they were going to be?
A little bit. We did talk about a little
what that was, because that was like a month and a half ago.
My prediction had been that they were going to involve something of extra combats or combats on other people's turns, which I'm still confused about now, because not off the top of my head, maybe you can look it up.
We're looking at Invasion of Zendikar. It is a battle. So it's a battle card, but it is also a subtype of Siege. So that it's kind of cool. They're leaving it open for adding different types of battles.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about what a battle card is, right? They unveiled it. It is basically a card that you play as a siege enters. Choose an opponent to protect it. You and others can attack it. When it's defeated, exile it, then cast it transformed.
Yeah, and it's a flip card. So they're kind of set like the Zendikar flip cards, where they've got the little symbol on the top that's talking to let you know. But either way, they are transform cards. They are dual-sided cards.
There's also an ETB to it. So when Invasion of Zendikar enters the battlefield, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield tapped and then shuffle. Let's try to find this. What is this what's its transform?
The transform comes back as a creature, I believe, on that one, right? Or is it so it can be anything, right? It can come back as a saga, or it can come back as Teferi.
It comes back as Teferi Akosa, or no, Invasion of New Phyrexia turns into Teferi Akosa of Zelfie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you when you cast it, you put it in your own deck to then basically put it on your opponent's battlefield to then hope to be able to attack it. It would be really, I think ultimately this is sort of just an interesting thing that will, if people choose to play them, it will just slow gameplay. Yeah. Because whenever you take the initiative to attack one of your battles, you're not attacking your opponent's life total.
I wonder if Melissa Del Toro had anything to do with this mechanic instruction.
Yeah,
she's been known to do that more than once for many of the sets that have come out. So
to like try to slow the pace of the gameplay down? Or?
No, just for contributing to where a lot of these new mechanics are going. I think she was directly related to the creation of Saga. I think she did sagas.
I know, actually, Peter or Richard Garfield.
The Eldraine subtype ones, whatever those were.
Eldraine, the story or the adventure.
Yeah.
The sagas were actually started, from what I heard, the saga enchantment type started as a design. It was like almost a redesign of Planeswalkers from Richard Garfield himself.
Yep.
And that's why they brought it in for Dominaria, because he was one of the designers. Like they brought him back as a designer for the first time in a while on the original Dominaria set.
And the adventure.
Yeah, so we can thank Dr. Richard Garfield for sagas. Probably the best thing that's happened to Magic in a long time. They're just great card types. And I think Battle's going to be really cool too.
Especially the skip ahead. Love those ones. It's like way stronger now. You're like, okay, just like, because how else can you abuse that? Maybe extra turns, shenanigans, something like that.
What set was that? That was in sagas that basically you could, if you wanted to, start on chapter 2.
Right. That was Dominaria. So both times it was Dominaria
remastered.
Yeah. So the first time it came out, when
you could choose.
Gatewatch was revived.
You could choose any of them.
Yeah, the story arc with Bells and Lock and all that, and then so they just came out with that. But the Dominaria United had the skip ahead,
right?
Which just gave it so much more benefit.
Oh, that set was so cool! I definitely didn't.
I love it. It's one of my favorite that came out recently. Like period.
Yeah.
Especially with the stained glass effect. Shieldred, my bae got reprinted and is so broken.
Yep.
She costs 4 mana. So nuts. Image prompt here. Card. Yeah. No, awesome stuff.
So battles, I think they're going to be very interesting. Are people going to play them? Like the investment has to be worth the payoff because you're just adding a turn of attacking something else, and what if you can't attack it down?
I think specifically people are going to end up playing them. Of course, like we'll see. It's not going to be until we get either some broken ones as they actually release the set, or once they start printing more and we get more things where like CEDH players are going to start hitting them, because realistically CEDH isn't going to touch them. They are too slow.
Yeah.
Outside of that, though, for casual play, especially just like
definitely, it's going to add some fun nuances to what you can do going forward.
People love to play their jank, and I'm sure that went into a big decision of like why they're doing this. People love to just play like weird, silly things with the new Atraxa. People are going to be trying
venture into the dungeon.
Actually, I have a question. Can we bring one of those cards up, because I want to know if it works like Planeswalkers in regards to having a counters enter on the card.
Rattle cards.
Because
for the number?
Well, so like I'm thinking, is there a way to break it with, what is it, Solemnity, that makes things not enter with counters?
Yeah.
So would they just
players and permanents can't get to counters?
I don't believe that the numbered value on the battle cards is counters. I believe it's just its own separate life total.
Yeah, what does it say that it is? Because loyalty counters is Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Be interesting. I'm sure actually there is a YouTube video that Magic released during their unveiling to specifically. It probably answers that question. I just haven't watched it, but I would like to know if there's a way that you can like break it where when you cast it, it just instantly transforms. You kind of get around that clause of having to attack it. Because that would make some of
Magic
them
the Gathering introduces dual face transforming battle cards in March of the Machine. Let's see if there's something here with that. This is from the website Dicebreaker.
Yeah, because right now, I guess we can pull up. I'll pull up some on my phone.
March 29th, so days ago. That's pretty cool. March of the Machines, the culminatory set in Magic the Gathering's latest narrative arc, received a bevy reveals. Blah 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 blah. Let's get.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're just meant to be life totals of it.
Yeah,
because in the debut video, go check out the Wizards of the Coast Magic the Gathering YouTube channel themselves, because they've got their debut video up, which explains battles and the cinematic.
I'm waiting to see it myself, which kind of sucks. I keep teasing myself with this stuff. So this is pretty cool. So we now know that battles are a new permanent type that follow some of the rules. So some of the rules for Planeswalkers, but otherwise introduce a whole new way for players to interact with each other. Battles are transforming dual-face cards that enter the field with a certain number of defense counters printed on the bottom, left on the side with the mana cost. So I guess like Doubling Season would see that, hey? And then once played, the controller, the player who cast it, chooses one or the other player to defend this card. Other players, including the one who cast it, can attack it with their creatures in much the same way you can attack Planeswalkers.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So the fact that it says defense counter proves that Solemnity would make it so that it would come in with 0.
Yeah. And it says once all the defense counters have been removed, the battle card transforms, and whatever permanent is on the other side goes to the player who finished it off. That's pretty cool. So it's kind of like
you got to fight over them? You get to fight over them.
Yeah, so whoever finished it off gets the card, so it's kind of like Monarch in that regard.
Whoa.
And we have already seen creatures, enchantments, and one notable Planeswalker printed on the opposite side of the T's, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Including Marchesa. Marchesa is getting a reprint.
Yeah.
Oh, my bae.
Yeah. The new Marchesa looks really good.
That just made the whole thing so much better, because like in a commander format, you play a battle. That might actually make them almost unplayable, right? Because you play it and then probably two other people get to take a shot at attacking them and could probably just have the value. Mm-hmm. It's very risky if it's not one-on-one. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, you guys are not playing in the way that we want. So here's this new card introduction. And now you kind of have to redirect. Like it's adding again more creative nuances to how you play the game. So instead of being ruthless to some regard, it gives you this kind of way to like alter a turn. Instead of smashing face, you're just gonna take a thing, or maybe you can do both. Whatever works. But I like it. Actually, I really do appreciate some of these. I probably would rather see them played more regularly if everyone agreed to have more of like a planeschase style approach. Because otherwise, I would honestly, on average, as a competitive player, avoid even trying to get them unless it really, really had value, or if the creature had already transformed, I'll try to permanently steal it or something. I'm not gonna waste my strategies on trying to get something like that. But otherwise, if I wanted to play with them, specifically my decks, I think I'd have a really good time regardless. Yeah. Especially if you mix something like, I don't know, planeschase on top of these cards.
Yeah, so that's another great segue, because we learned sometime in the past few weeks that is it March of the Machines commander decks are going to have
new planeschase
cards. Planeschase, if you guys don't know, is it's ages ago they released this supplementary product where you could play your game. I think it was meant for multiplayer, correct?
Yeah.
And the planeschase deck would be out on the side, and I think when you start the game, or you get to roll the planar die once per turn for free, and then every time you roll after that costs a cumulative amount of mana.
So it goes 1, 2, 3 for every time.
Yeah, so it gets more and more every time you want to keep rolling, and you want to roll the die because if you roll, I think it's either a 1 or a 6.
Yeah,
you either get the
either planeschase, where you go
effect
to another, or you chaos, and chaos is what everybody's generally hoping for, because it's your creatures all gain this for a turn, or you take an extra turn, or your mana is doubled.
But the cool thing about planeschase is that some of those planes you don't want to hit that chaos because it'll mess you up.
Yeah.
So every time you roll the dice,
your whole board back into your graveyard, back into your
if you're trying to like roll the dice to flip the plane to the next plane because the plane is really terrible for you. Some of them are like, only one creature can attack each turn or something. So you're just like hosed in a token deck. So you're trying to roll the dice to switch to the next plane, and sometimes you hit the chaos. It's wild. It's super fun. It
can also be really, so if you're, don't expect fast games, expect maybe 3 hours of one match. It can happen.
Complete unabridged insanity.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Sometimes it just nerfs everything that you can do and you just don't get to do anything, but I don't know. It's great. Sometimes you just got to bust out the planeschase deck, which is very difficult to acquire, right? Because those are pretty expensive cards now because they were only printed once or something.
Yeah.
But I believe these new ones that are being printed in the Commander product, they're reprinting old ones as well?
Yeah. There's also like the planeschase. I don't know how fond of it, which is the Coast is, but there's a planeschase app.
Yes.
Only it's on actually, Android. No, it's decent.
Yeah,
it's decent.
It's great. I just can't use it because it's
the cards. I think the merch for the cards and the whole setup is now pretty kind of.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they
to get your hands
reinvigorate and reprint it now, or at least maybe not all of them, but some of them. Because I feel like especially planeschase and the making new planeschase
probably depend on the popularity. They'll have to suddenly get more notice again.
Well, I just know that like in the same favor, like there's some of the old planeschase cards that they're just not going to reprint. They're going to want that scarcity, especially if they're reintroducing it, because then it's like it's more collectability, it's more of the second market, what they love to support, and then it turns into just like, oh yeah, the one that's like I don't even remember half of them. There's one of them where it's just like destroy all other like destroy everybody else's permanents, and it's like
there's one that was just everybody gets goats, right? Everybody's turns. It's like here's a couple goats, and then somebody changes. Like this turn, you get some goats. Like it's just funny.
Yeah,
some of them are totally
great.
Absurd.
Some of them are great.
I mean, usually like lots of them are like totally abusable by one style of deck and not usable for the other ones and stuff. So it becomes a power battle of like who's
like. There was one time we were doing a planeschase game. We lost it, unfortunately. I was playing Slivers, and it was the the creature cumulative anthem, where your creatures gain +1/+1 for each other creature, or for each other creature you have. So it was just all of I had just a wall of I just had a wall of Slivers that were all buffing each other plus being Slivers themselves. I think I also had Sliver Legion in there, which is the same effect where each sliver gets another +1. I just remember I swung out and I think I killed like 3 people because it was like a big 6-player game. I killed like 3 people, and then I'm like, okay, I should have I had like 1 sliver left, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna return that one to your hand, and they killed me. I'm like, no.
That's because it was slivers.
Slivers are You're never making friends if you're playing
Not
slivers.
really. It's like I would love to see an Eldrazi, a sliver, maybe even now that we can finally probably include it because of some of the options. But Phyrexian players, just like like somebody who's like focusing on infect and then slivers and Eldrazi and like the highest top tier synergized decks just to see how bullshit it becomes.
So me playing against myself ver's myself because those are 3 decks that I have.
We'll get that all in it'll be wonderful to edit, but we can get this done.
Yeah, a little bit of extra editing. Tell us in the comments if you want to see us put in the effort to have one of us play a game against ourselves. The sheer amount of
I've thought about that before, right? Because sometimes you do it in practice when you're like goldfishing.
Yeah.
But like
it will take genius.
you are explicitly playing a game where it's tough. You can either play where it's like, okay, both hands are revealed because one player knows what's in each hand, or you try as hard as possible to play the one perspective as if they didn't know what was in the other person's hand, and like. That
I've actually done it with myself a few times just to see how 2 decks, like especially after I modified them, would do against each other, and it is possible. But you have to just, instead of theorizing about the opponent's other hand, you just have to play the best absolute choice every turn, and no matter what, counter on any restart. If you know there's a response, you're just going to do it because you'll see how both of them can interact in that way, and avoiding all the theory work about what you could have done differently against yourself. You're literally just letting the decks do all the work. And if they can't do anything in those interactions, then you'll notice the kind of differences. Because I learned this from a guy who's been playing since it came out, and he doesn't really play with a lot of people anymore. But he gave me some really, really sage advice in that way. And I tried, but I also really crave interaction. And I've only done this maybe 10 times total, and I learned this 3 years ago. So since then, I've also even improved and I wasn't having the best games with myself. Sometimes they were just like, like this deck clearly needs mana fixing and this and that, right? So
speaking of interaction, our games that we played today with our guest Jenim, watch those videos. They're great. Jenim was a character.
Yeah, he was vibing. He was so happy to be on camera, and you could tell.
But there was an interaction between you two, right? The stack got a little piled up with...
Oh, the 3 of us, absolutely. And you were just like...
Started with a swords to plowshares and it ended with broken friendships.
Yeah, that was good. Good.
2 were cast. Counters were had. Redirects were made. Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
I'd love to see it.
So planeschase cards, I'm stoked because I haven't played a game of planeschase in years.
Yeah.
And the fact that new ones are going to come out, it's just going to invigorate everybody to start playing that again.
Yeah, we're absolutely going to have to at least pick up a couple of the commander boxes. And
if they make it, they will play.
Is this what's coming in the product? Remember there was that, they said that there was a new 5-color sliver commander pre-con and it was a new card? Is this the same product?
No, I don't think it's the same product. I think that's going to be a part of like their after kind of thing because they're doing an aftermath set, and then I think after that it's going to be the new ones. We're getting a guaranteed new legendary Eldrazi commander, which oh my god. Then we're getting a brand new guaranteed 5-color sliver commander. Oh my god, like they crafted the next set of commanders after the planeschase ones. Like they crept into my home, they took a picture of my decks, and they're like, this kid's getting a present. This kid's getting a present.
Fuck them.
I'm so stoked.
I love some of the archetypes, like especially the Eldritch approach to the design behind the Eldrazi and the aesthetic of what they do to the planes and everything. I love all that, but I don't like Annihilator. I don't like how exile-y they are. I really don't appreciate Annihilator. I think I've already mentioned that.
We're never really getting Annihilator back.
Well, no, and that's good, but the cards that are still in existence have some pretty tasteful fucking abilities.
They printed it, and it'll never
sometimes they also have Annihilator, and that's just...
I'm also curious, because
a couple
of years ago, they printed a bunch of test cards. Just like random test cards. Some of them have appreciated, depreciated in value. They're pretty cool. One of them is...
the mystery booster ones?
I think so, yeah. One of them is Eldrazi Monstrosity, which is it would turn slivers into, or it would turn Eldrazi into slivers, and then would give all slivers you control Annihilator 1. Yeah, of course, it's not a legal card, much to my own dismay of wanting to goad people into letting me play it. I have not yet.
You've never been able to play that card?
I think there was one game specifically, and it was like somebody won on turn 2, and it's like, okay, well...
Let's play it on the channel.
Absolutely. Let's play.
Let's do it. Let's just play ridiculous. Actually, on that note,
it will be the commander.
I've always wanted to play a deck. I probably just have to like proxy it because I don't want to buy all the whatever just for the one-off thing that I can't really play. But it was a commander that was printed specifically for, I think, a Wizards of the Coast employee. I think it was for the team that made Arena.
Yeah.
Because I think the card is
Are you talking about the Celestia dragon?
No,
it's the red archer
Jess guy.
It's Jess guy. It's the archer that makes other things your commander.
No. I'm talking about the saga that can be your commander.
Oh, okay.
It's called the Legend of Arena or something.
Oh, yeah.
It's a saga commander, and it's busted. It's so cool. It's like it makes wizard tokens, and whenever wizard tokens connect with a player, you can search your library for a planeswalker card and put it on the battlefield.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
They did another one.
It's called the Legend of Arena.
They did another one of those where it's not legal, printed once sort of thing, blue. I think it was just like for staff as like more of a jokey / they can play it kind of card. I don't remember the specifics. It was red. It might have had other colors to it, but it was an archer. It was meant to be your commander, and its ability was like tap, target creature you control also becomes your commander. You can
weird.
And then it was I can't remember the exact specifics. It was either like antheming up based off of how many commanders you had, or commanders you cost like however much less to cast from the command zone for the amount of commanders you had. It was ridiculous, but it was basically like you just funnily turn one card at a time into your entire command zone. Like your deck is in your command zone. You could just keep casting everything for free, or like not for free, but for
should call it the tax man.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So here we'll put this on the screen. It's a saga called The Legend of Arena. 1 blue, red, white. The Legend of Arena can be your commander. Chapter 1 and 2 are both create a 2/1 red human wizard creature token. Spells you cast this turn cost 1 less to cast for each wizard you control. So yeah, it's pretty good already. And then chapter 3 is search your library for a planeswalker card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. It enters with an additional loyalty counter on it for each wizard you control. So you basically just get to search for a planeswalker and ultimate it every time. And then the Legend of Arena goes back in your command zone to be cast again. Yeah. So like it's such a cool commander. I'd love to play that.
To be fair, I don't like that. That's very cool. To be fair, what's her name? Huatley.
Yeah,
it's kind of a better version of doing exactly that.
Hold on, which Huatley?
Huatley Radiant Champion.
What are you talking about?
I did it. I'm sorry.
It's a Selesnya. Its plus ability is put a loyalty counter on it for each creature you control. Its other one, I can't remember if it's a plus or a minus, but it's like I think it's like give target creature like plus X something.
Plus X for each creature you control, I believe.
I think that, yeah. And then the ulti is you get an emblem with whenever a creature enters the battlefield and you control, you may draw a card.
Yeah. It's a killer card. I don't think it's not anywhere near tutoring planeswalkers to ultimate them.
That's true.
You mean like tutoring that planeswalker to ultimate it?
I mean, tutoring that, I just mean in general, it's kind of like, I was expecting more from that as you were reading that. I'm sitting there, I'm like, it sounds phenomenal. Like, yeah, tutoring into a planeswalker to just be able to ulti it, but it's also very, like, that'd be kind of easy to deal with.
Well, hold on. It says spells you cast this turn.
Yeah.
Cost 1 less to cast for each wizard you control. So I'm assuming every creature in the deck you'd play is a wizard.
Yeah.
And every planeswalker you'd play is something that just gets tutored and ultimates immediately.
I guess that's true.
It seems like if you built it competitively or even just efficiently,
I guess,
it would be like, sort of impressive.
I guess that makes sense, yeah. Because like what you have, like your like 3 super mini drop wizards that are probably drawing you cards or land or something. Yeah. Then you drop that. You got like 1 less. You drop
just everything that makes wizard tokens. Your spells just end up being only the colored pips.
Yeah.
And you got some heat planeswalkers that are just coming down and wrecking house.
But it is just a saga, right?
Yes.
So it's like it's not coming back.
It goes to the command zone.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah.
You can't just cast it for 2 more every time. So you can.
Interesting.
And I guess it says spells you cast cost 1, or spells you cast this turn. It's only after it's on the battlefield. So you can't really get the reduction on the. And it is a legendary saga, so there's no shenanigans there for getting like just cycling it for next to nothing for commander attacks. But I don't know. It's a card that is. I don't know if it's actually tournament legal.
No,
it is black bordered.
Yeah, I mean,
what is it?
The Legend of Arena. And the thing is that there's hardly any of them in existence. I think there's only like a dozen, or maybe, I don't know, is there one? Did it only go to one of the members of the team? What does it say in legality?
It doesn't even have there's no like price on it.
No, it's because it's not.
It's not legal
out in the world.
It's not legal. Sure, yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
it's
not legal anymore.
Yeah.
So it wasn't made legal. It was just made as a cool. Like they're very rare. They're probably stupid expensive.
Oh yeah,
because there's a whole bunch of them. There was. It's part of like a cycle that they gave out to employees.
That seems to be a trend for them lately.
Giving stuff to their employees.
No, I mean like good on them for giving the stuff to the employees. I just mean the printing the weird one-offs that are just ridiculous.
Like My Bay, image prompt here. Karis and the Beholder. My lord, look at that. Look at that. It's not legal anywhere either, but
and it's got the D&D end.
Karis and the Beholder. When Karis and the Beholder enters the battlefield and has flying. So when Karis and the Beholder enters the battlefield and at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 white human creature token and make a charisma check. Rolling a d20. If the result plus the number of creatures you control is greater than 11, put on a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. If the result is a natural 20, for each non-legendary creature you control, create a token that's a copy of that creature. And this is in Selesnya. It's a 120. It has 2 pips for each color in Selesnya, so 2 green, 2 white, but 1 color, so it only costs 5. Very fair. I love it. Yeah. It's so much flavor. I'm going to probably proxy this card and honestly make it into my official Selesnya commander, because as a Shadrix player as well, like that's super fun, but it's more selfish in this case because I want stuff. I want a bolster. Legal? It's not legal. It's not, very
because I think again that was probably one of those ones that was made for the.
I think so. Yeah,
it's a Wizards team member.
Yeah, it's got that fanciness.
Hot dog boys, genius idea. Then, do we want to do a band commander?
Sure,
you do that. I'll do my Slivdrosity monstrosity.
Yeah,
like let's.
I'll do Karis and the Beholder. Right on.
Let's pick some band commanders.
Yeah, I would love to
comments below if you want to see us be spicy
and suggestions for anything that you think that we could build or would be fun jank.
Oh yeah, we have some concepts we want to throw around. I have this one. It's gonna be like first to 100 tokens or some shit, where like players can't be killed, but you can still remove permanents and stuff. But it's a race to the finish to see who can get to 100 tokens. Just as a way to like finally play a game where it doesn't require any actual player to die. That'd be kind of cool. I think it might change the mentality about how you play the game a bit more, especially going forward, because it's hard to remove the human nature from the player, from the human invented game, and it's hard to be amicable.
Brady's definitely had some fire ideas for stuff to do on the channel. I definitely love the one I think we should do
sociables?
On Twitch stream where we basically musical chairs or whatever, like
musical chairs, sociables.
And every time a sub comes in, we have to like rotate seat position, and play each other's decks.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
It's so confusing.
We're gonna have a lot of fun.
But yeah.
There was almost an attempted segue there over to talking about the rarest card ever printed in Magic. I think that we should talk about that.
The One Ring. All you Loader fans out there.
Loader.
The one card that will be proxied the most.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about the One Ring.
The One Ring.
New Lord of the Rings set. And we're talking about specifically the 1/1 serialized rare as absolute fuck version that may never be found. Let's be honest.
That may never be found.
It may never be opened. And what if someone opens it out of a Walmart pack and doesn't know what the fuck it is? No, sorry, it's only in English collector boosters, but they sell those at Walmart, don't they?
Oh yeah. Not only that, but you got to think like internet scalpers. They end up buying a bunch of boxes people don't buy. They just sell off a bunch of companies.
It's not
overseas.
Gonna be possible. I think it would be really, really stupid to do that, because then there's going to be a whole. I would see just in terms of how things follow. Just print one card of something that could be immeasurably. It doesn't make any sense.
If they haven't, then they're like subject to litigation for fraud.
Yeah,
like they could get a.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean, though. So there's going to be all that. There's going to be people with proxies. It'll just add to the market that doesn't need to be there. Like an element that just does not need to be there.
I like it, and as much as I'm going to receive some flack for this, so I'm sorry. Because don't get me wrong, I love Magic. I would never want Magic cards to be abused or this or that. I love the idea that somebody's going to pull this, and I don't care who it is. I hope it's not one of these big influencers that are known for kind of shitting on our all of our favorite games and stuff. I want somebody to draw that card, and I want somebody to
change their life.
I want somebody to. Way to be the angel to my devil. I was going to say, I hope that they rip it in half.
Oh, actually, I heard somebody talking about how they were like, fuck it. If I draw or if I pull this card out of a pack, I'm doing the big dick move and I'm going to throw it in a volcano.
Even better.
And they were like, well, actually it was on loading ready run. And they were like, yeah, like honestly, if I open the pack and I see it, I'm sure it'll change my mind. And then it started opening up the discussion of like how the fucking card is like tempting the hearts of man.
Yeah.
And like, after all, why shouldn't I keep it, right? It's like the real effect of the One Ring is happening because of this card.
And humanity's already fucked enough. Don't do it. Don't do this, wizards.
It could ruin your life. Right?
Oh no! Of course they're going to. I
this card, people could be murdered over this.
Yeah.
This does not make any sense to me. I think this is actually very irresponsible.
You don't like it?
I think it's irresponsible.
I
think it's going to promote too much potential con artists to do things. I think there's going to be I think there's just a lot of gray area in which this can be abused.
I have two things to say about that. That I think
people have been murdered over
if
Black
Wizards
Lotus.
is smart, I don't think that this card is just going to be a printed card like everything else and you open it and you have it. I think there's two things that can happen. Number one, you don't actually open the card. You open a voucher. You open come redeem. It's in a safe at Wizards headquarters in Seattle, and you get a flight and you get whatever, right? So that is a very important thing because just recently in the news there was pallets and pallets of Magic product that didn't get shipped properly, got written off, and was found in a landfill. Modern Horizons 2, Magic 30 or whatever.
Oh, that's heartbreaking, and I also hate myself for not being there.
Yeah.
And
I wish I was there.
So it protects also damage and shipping. Yeah. Can you imagine if you open that thing and it's damaged?
Yeah, okay, well,
So the voucher, like the card that says like you've won, come redeem your thing, that's one thing. Number two, I think sneakily, for something this important and to combat counterfeiting, it should have a watermark that no one knows about, like a passport or like a piece of money. Yeah. It should have something that Wizards will be able to confirm its identity and dispel any fraudulent.
Yeah. No, I agree with that too, because there was a recent debacle. See if you can find it. It was I think about 6 months ago. There was a big bust on like a random big bust on like counterfeiting cards, like Magic cards, where some group had figured out like an almost identical way of doing the blue liner that is in Magic cards. The blue core. And it's like, if people are now able to like really start getting into doing that, being able to counterfeit something like that is going to be...
Well, actually, I think you're looking at a custom card there, not a real one, right?
This card is amazing. I'm sorry, I haven't looked up anything else except for the One Ring in now English translation.
It's a great card.
Well, hold on, let me. Sorry, the train of thought there I had was lost it.
Let's check the tape.
Sorry. I believe when they unveiled the One Ring, like the one of one serialized one, and they showed the picture of it, there's a little star somewhere. There's an asterisk on not that one, the serialized one, that says this is not the final version of the art. So no one actually knows what the card looks like.
Yeah.
So you can't counterfeit it off the thing that they revealed.
Yeah. That's amazing. As soon as you said that, it does make sense for something of so high value. I got way ahead of myself. I think if they did do that, it would be 100% irresponsible. I think it'd be really silly to do that, and there's just too much room for error. Yeah. Whereas, if you are going to pull this thing, and my now thought to that is, how are they going to do that efficiently with the chance of that little flyer, that little like, here's your redemption code. How many redemption codes can they produce, or how?
Just one.
It has to.
I know, but that's what I mean. The gray area still is there in terms of my understanding of it, but now it's just the chance of it being lost to whatever. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it still is a bit confusing.
I almost guarantee you that this is going to be a Willy Wonka-esque situation, and I would hope so. Somebody has their hands in a specific order going to a specific shop. They know for a fact it's going to there, and it's like we know that this card is getting pulled. We're not shipping this off to just random warehouse. This is going to be literally a Willy Wonka, whoever.
You think they'd be that controlling, eh?
Well, I think that if that ever came out, that they would be dragged through the coals.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
If they're selecting that it's going to be opened in Wisconsin, and they're selecting which region, then they've lied to everyone. Buying an English collector booster in Calgary, Alberta, where we live, is technically not eligible if they've decided where it's going to be opened. Yeah. So I think that they have to be like, this is a very touchy subject for them. They have to put it into the pool. Like, I know that when it comes to like lottery tickets and all that kind of stuff, not with McDonald's. I don't know if you heard about that, but early McDonald's Monopoly was rigged for like 7 years. The guys that had control of the printed game pieces that were the winners were giving them to their friends, and then like putting one person in between so that it didn't come back to them. And then eventually got found out, but you weren't actually able to win any of the big prizes on the McDonald's Monopoly because it was rigged. Yeah, and it's apparently not now. But of course, there's a protocol where anybody who comes into contact with the winning thing, like for instance the One Ring, there has to be not only like a legally checked like layers of obfuscation between where it's going to end up, because nobody's allowed to have agency. This thing's going to be worth. There's already a standing offer from a reputable person saying, I will pay $100,000 for this, but you're not allowed to tell anyone that you opened it until you've sold it to me. It's a weird thing where they want to get the initial hype for it. I think that I can't remember who it is. You could probably bring it up, but they also said in the offer that they will match the highest bidder. So the $100,000 offer is the basement of that offer. Yeah. So like we've already got somebody that's swinging dick, being like $100,000 instantly. If you
who's the person who owns the most Black Lotuses out of who's that guy again?
I'm not sure.
There's that dude. He just happened to buy a bunch of that set from way back in the day, and he just happens to have a lot of them like guaranteedly like sealed away. I can't remember his name. You showed me a video with him challenging the Tolarian professor, because both of them had played with that card in a deck in a match in a video on YouTube. You were the one who showed me this to me. It was and apparently he's kind of like I don't know. He's got an attitude apparently.
It's not Posty.
No, it's not Post Malone. We're talking like.
Oh, we're talking about Alpha Investments. Rudy?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I know Rudy has a terrifyingly expensive collection of old Magic cards.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I believe some. I believe. Well, anyways, we're getting chopped up, but I do believe that he has a couple at least.
I know. Rudy is an eccentric billionaire, or not billionaire. He's a millionaire that loves to play the market of Magic, of buying and selling and collecting high value stuff. And I'm pretty sure there's videos where he slaps his binder down and just flips through all of his OG dual lands and all of his Power 9 and all of the friggin' Lotuses that he has. He definitely has a stupid collection. I wonder if he's the dude that has more. Be surprised. He probably is. I mean, who else would have more specifically Black Lotuses?
Post Malone, maybe.
Post Malone has.
He's a multi-millionaire.
A couple, I think. I think he owns the most expensive one.
I think he has the one that's signed.
Yeah, it's not even a real one. It is a real one, but it's one of the artist proofs. It's a Chris Rush artist proof signed by Chris Rush.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I think he was already dead when he died, which made the card skyrocket in price because there can never be another signed Chris Rush Lotus ever again, right? So
that's insane.
Yeah, that's why that card sold for, I think it was $100,000, right? US.
No, I think its top cap is 200,000.
Yeah, I thought it was 200. I thought it was 200,000 something.
Yeah, it made headlines everywhere. I'm sure we could look that up.
It did. Yeah, 100%.
So, what are you guys? What are you guys doing with your winnings when we pull this card? If like any one of us, what would you like? I think, on principle, I wouldn't sell it. I'd keep it. I don't care if it could change my life. I would keep the card. I would also sign it.
Oh my!
I have no clout. I would sign it, and forever.
I am the one who did that thing.
Forever, it would be this gem of millions of dollars.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like I have no clout. But just me signing it would be like the ultimate. Just like
I would go for the money.
It's still worth $100 million. Or it's still worth like
I need a future.
$100,000.
I can't keep being poor.
I would take being poor just to write on it.
You'd significantly diminish the value, but you'd still sell it. You'd still sell it.
Would I?
I think generally regarded
it just puts the pressure on me to do something with my life.
So I guess we'll go in and as a group of three. Actually, Dennis said he wants in too. So like maybe we get some people together and buy a box or two for opening on the channel. Yeah. And then what happens if we open it, we just split it, right?
Well, I've just told you I'm not selling it. I'm not selling it.
Well, so we cut it into 3 pieces.
See, that's what I mean. I don't even give a shit.
Steal the other guy's
I don't want to know that any of us have it.
Volcano.
If I pulled it, I wouldn't tell nobody. I would just become very wealthy in a matter of weeks. That's what would happen.
Well, okay.
I'm not telling nobody nothing. But then when I was rich, I would say how I got it, and I would probably have some footage to explain how it. There'd be proof.
So
Brady, how do you have
there is a realistic probability that it never gets opened.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The gray area there is kind of stupid.
How deflating is that going to be for like the rarest collectible Magic has ever
I would do it like...
See, that's what I mean.
The heart of the Wizards of the Coast, the one city where they're at, the tournament of the lifetime, the one ring is the one prize. That makes sense to me as opposed to just some random plebe out there is going to pull it from a booster pack and have his life changed forever. No, fuck that. That makes no sense, Wizards.
It's the one ring. It's Smeagol finding the one ring and its journey all the way back to its own death.
Right, and in the books...
I want Jeff Bezos to have...
the ring is...
the modern Sauron.
The ring it wants to be found, right?
Yeah,
they explain that in the movies. It does not stay hidden. You can't hide it.
Yeah.
It wants to be found. It draws people towards it. So it would be really fucking funny if it just never shows up.
No, they'd have some way of randomizing it. I would hope
something that valuable.
It's either not... They're not going to let it not get found. It's either going to be some fashion of hopefully they swindle this into a way that is fair. Just like, okay, random tournament, this, that, blue, blue, blue. Or like somehow like they themselves rolling a dice to figure out which fucking truck they go on. So it's still up to the gods. That's blah, blah, blah. I think that they're going to. Or it's going to be like a year down the line and they're going to be like, oh no, we never sent it out.
And also, I'm like, who's to say
Let's just hand it to somebody.
Why wouldn't the people, especially the higher ups of Wizards, not also have their own copy? Like that doesn't. It's kind of stupid. One of the most anticipated.
It's so suspect if anybody close to the company is in possession of that card.
That's what I mean. But why wouldn't they? Why couldn't they be also obligated? Like after everything they've done, and especially with the set going on, let's imagine that this set isn't some kind of. Because some sets aren't necessarily the best, and maybe they really do fuck the bed with this one, as an example. Yes. There's a lot of things you can't expect. I don't approve of Gandalf as an example being a Zet. I don't think that makes any sense to me. If anything...
we can talk about that more. There's 3 different versions of Gandalf.
Oh, well, in that case, hit me up. But anyways, no, regardless, like I just, just to have that variable out there, because even Smeagol, I was really stoked to see Smeagol get printed, and I'm like... He's not that good, but he's like one of my favorite characters forever.
So there's multiple versions of all of the heroes.
Really?
Yeah. So they've released.
Oh, I get. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
They've revealed because there's different.
See how transformed the storyline is like 50 years or something.
Gandalf starts out as I can't remember his name. It's the brown version of him, and he has a different name. Anyway, so there'll be that card. There's Gandalf the Grey, and then there will be Gandalf the White. And Frodo, I think, has 3 cards. Samwise has three cards.
Fuck Sam.
They have all sorts of just fuck Sam.
Oh please, Mr. Frodo. Just suck his dick already.
You're gonna get
fuck.
Saying fuck Sam is gonna get us canceled the second. Nobody's gonna let you talk about Sean Astin that way.
No, I love Sean Astin. No, just yeah, you know what? It's kind of his performance for me. Yeah, sorry, Sean.
What are you doing? He will never appear in another episode of the Roast Passage. We're canceling him ourselves.
I'm done. I'm out.
Throw him into Mount Doom.
Yeah.
No, that's the one thing that makes me cringe about. Is it's like, okay, you're into it. You're now like you're dry in the eyes because you were like right as a child in theaters, and all of a sudden it's like, oh please, Mr. Frodo, and you're like, It's just something. It's just cutting the attention in a way for me that I'm like, no, give me some unadulterated Shelob action. I don't want that.
Think of it this way. So one thing that I've learned is that because it was the card you cannot pass that they previewed for this set, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not what he says in the movie. It's you shall not pass. And apparently he says you cannot pass in the books, and he also says apparently you cannot pass and you shall not pass in the films. But he says the one quieter. It's not the famous line. But you cannot pass is the line from the books, which leads to like they're not basing this on the films at all.
Yeah,
nothing in the films has anything to do with this set.
That's spectacular.
All from the books.
I appreciate that.
So the Frodo and the Samwise from the books is who you should, that's who these cards are based after.
Are we getting an actual Tom Bombadil card?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I just have it right over here. Look at this.
He's a 5-color.
So this is amazing. So I think this might be my Wooburg deck. So Tom Bombadil.
Fight me.
All 5, right? We can have the same commander. It's fine. As long as there are 4 more lore counters among sagas you control, Tom Bombadil has hexproof and indestructible, which is really cool, especially for a commander that costs Wooburg and So whenever you the final chapter ability of a saga you control resolves, reveal cards from the top of your library until it reveals a saga card. Put that card on the battlefield and the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. This ability triggers only once each turn. So there's a lot of super fun, super jank. There's a lot of new cards because I was going to make that new Kamigawa Saga Tribal Selesnya. I was going to dabble with that.
This is 5-color.
Yeah, this is 5-color, and I can just throw that in the 99. And we have a God Bard here. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I was actually talking to
fun.
Sarah.
He looks fun.
was talking to my friend Sarah last night about this because she's like she's my friend who's more connected to Lord of the Rings than anybody I know, and apparently people are like happy because in the books they don't specifically say
that he's God.
That he's a god.
Yeah. There's a lot of speculation as to what he is.
Or whatever. And on the card they're just like, yeah, he's God, and everybody's just like, thank you. Like, Lord of the Rings is technically adding depth to the lore of Magic is adding depth to the lore of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. That's why
at least
Universes Beyond stuff.
From a Magic the Gathering approach, for sure.
Yeah, like there's a lot of people who are like really against all the Universes Beyond stuff going on, and I get it. It's oversaturating our game, and it's kind of twisting our game into something that it wasn't. But
the Final Fantasy makes me irked.
Whatever. But this is the thing: evolution is necessary. For any of the stuff that's going to happen. If Magic was still just the same as it was after beta, they never changed it again, none of us would be playing.
And actually, I wrote this down. Sorry to interrupt you. On top of this, it does add variety, and they've been doing this since the 90s anyways.
Yeah.
Portal, Dynasty Warriors, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Portal 3 card crossover with some of the most expensive cards you can find right now on average for one set. Like Jihao Dun, One-Eyed, or Cao Cao, Lord of Wei. These cards are very, very expensive.
Yeah.
I think they're in the hundreds of dollars.
Well, the thing is, the reason that Magic has lasted as long as it has was they made Richard Garfield knew right away that he finished the first set, and they reprinted the first set a couple times with minor variations, but then they started working on Arabian Nights, like right after. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Arabian Nights originally had a different card back, and they made a very conscious decision last minute, right before it went to print, to make it the same card back, so that the cards were like because Arabian Nights was going to be a separate set. They weren't originally meant to play together.
Yeah. And
then they made that decision like, no, we should just make that an expansion and continually expand the game.
Yeah.
And if they didn't make that
was
pivot
genius.
point,
yeah, that's like really smart.
It would have been a way different story.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because back then nobody played with sleeves, right? If you had cards that had different backs, sort of what you were drawing next.
Yeah.
And they kind of like noticed that last minute, and they were like, shit. So it had a different card back. You could look it up.
Yeah.
It's
what does it say again? It says right at the back. A lot of people, Deck Master.
Deck Master.
It's just like it's one of the most ignored things ever. Because when I look at the back, I look at the beautiful classic fonting of the Magic the Gathering word lettering, and then I always look at the Wooburg symbols, and that's it. I think it was you actually who brought this up to me. It's like the Deck Master, because you brought this up before. It was originally that they've had that on there forever.
That's never changed. That's since alpha, and it was supposed to be the set. Like the first set was like the Deck Master set or whatever, and then when they decided, they were like, no, we got to have the same card back throughout all of the sets. It lost its meaning. It just became the card back. So it was going to be specifically the thing that's like the set name.
I got a lot of this appreciation for this image prompt here. Like, look at the antiquity of the design. The fact that it has never changed since the 90s.
Yeah.
And it still looks like it's so... It doesn't look dated. It doesn't look old. It looks...
Well, it kind of has... It does, but only antiquated in a way that makes it still look really good.
Yeah.
It's like these days when we play with some of the reprinting sets, like the old school multicolor borders, which I don't really like for some of the cards, especially if there's a lot of like bright splashy colors, and then all of a sudden you have this weird swampy pattern on the I don't like that. But if it's a Golgori spell, I'm like, okay, that's cool. But aside from that, like the old bordering that they had for the artifacts, and even honestly, I was going through my collection of blue, the old original blue font, like little watercolor splash is so gorgeous, so gorgeous.
Yeah, Magic cards are cool.
Magic cards are cool.
Magic cards are okay, honestly.
They're just okay.
They're only just okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, so Lord of the Rings is going to be a banger. That's going to be like hottest Magic product of the summer for sure.
Yeah. The coast is on fire right now. Like they've got so much good in their pocket, and the new D&D movie coming out.
D&D movie coming out, and also I saw.
It's technically out.
I'm seeing that this Monday coming up.
I'm seeing it in the next week as well. Yeah.
And Dungeons and Dragons is also on the
tomorrow
cusp of releasing their new virtual tabletop simulator.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, IGN just did a first look, and it's fucking beautiful. And it's a sandbox style like world builder, so it's meant to be like here modders go nuts and make like because that's what D&D like tabletop building is all about. Is like we want to give you tools to not only make your own levels, but to make new tools to make whatever you want to make in the future. So it's a new, and it looks beautiful. It's an Unreal Engine 5, and like when you roll the dice, they like bounce around the little environment and
That's
stuff.
so
And it's
cool.
so pretty. It's so pretty.
Right on.
And you can play it remote, so it's going to make it so much easier for people to play D&D easier.
Oh my God.
It's meant to be like I remember the conversation that the dev was talking about. He was like, one of the top priorities was like just ease of access for people, like easy to learn, easy to play.
I'm still waiting for that Yu-Gi-Oh tournament style. I want to see my holographic monsters on the battlefield, please and thank you.
I mean, you kind of can. You can
tabletop simulator in VR. I'm sure.
Yeah, you can play Magic in tabletop simulator VR, and it's.
Well, I want it
basically
to be.
Not quite, but
I don't trust the quality's that good yet. But when it's banging, I will have no life.
Yeah, it's quite the grip that Wizards and Hasbro kind of has on us.
By the balls, gentlemen, by the balls.
Kind of. I'm very pleased with this sort of like bounce back redirect that kind of came from the OJLC debacle. Because don't get me wrong, there's aspects to it. Everybody loved to hate on it. There's aspects of it that made sense. There was aspects of it that were like certainly kind of predatory from the company. It's a hard balance to do because we aren't people who are running these companies. We don't know what happens when you create your own company and you're running the same kind of IP stuff that you're not making money off of. But at the same time, it's like there was a vision that went into it of making sure that the IP was open. So this weird little pivot that we've hit of them kind of like coming back on like the good faith and just being like, okay, it's like no, Wizards is still a company for the for the gaming community.
Well, you know that open gaming license contract got leaked ahead of time.
Yeah.
By someone on the inside.
Yeah.
And it was someone on the inside that was like, I do not stand for this.
Yeah.
I'm anonymously leaking this so that it can be torn to shreds by the public or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And the public liked it?
No, the public hated it.
Wait,
the OGLC thing was
when they
were going to be changing
any
content creators.
A lot of people were pissed off.
Yeah.
We were also kind of nervous there for a moment until you did your research, but
yeah, it wouldn't have affected us at all.
Not at the beginning, but that was kind of the whole big thing. Is so much of the terminology was left loose, where it's just like, it was only going to affect the big boys.
Whoever that deep throat was, thank you.
The way that it would have affected us, I believe, most prominently, is that every single thing that we put on the internet, because it has Magic the Gathering related, they would own that.
Yeah.
And be able to do whatever they want with it, which is, I think, one of the biggest things where people were like, "Excuse me, like
you can't do that stuff.
You can't just own everything I do."
Good try on trying.
Yeah,
nice. You can never.
But
respect the hustle.
It needs to
Don't
be
be down
upgraded.
for the swindle.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, my cat's trying to push the door down. All right. What are we at for time? What else do we want to talk about?
I really do want to discuss my Mr. Ballin merch.
Mr.
Ballin, bro, I love you. For the fans of the Strange, Dark, and Mysterious True Crime Obsession, it took a long time for this to come in the mail. There were some issues with just COVID regulations and respecting, not spreading the disease and shit.
The disease which shall not be named.
Yes, the Voldemort cough.
The Voldemort.
But anyways, I'm really stoked on it, especially with everything that he's doing right now for the world. The Mr. Ballin Foundation is given back to families who have been affected by horrible crime. Like we're talking just the worst degree that any family or individual can ever experience. Usually murder, all that other bad stuff. And it's really amazing that someone's been able to create so much traction, and especially with his storytelling, true crime channel. And it's cool as we're doing.
Cool. I'm going to check it out.
Some props to Mr. Ballin.
I only really
wearing
listen
my hat back too.
Sword and Scale. On the true crime genre. I've dabbled in other ones, but
I need to slow down on it. It's still too much in my life right now.
Yeah, some of them, man, I'll tell you right now, as a father, the episodes that involve harming children are really hard to listen to now.
They're rough. They're really super rough.
You just cannot
fathom it.
You can't stop thinking like, what if that was me? And then you're just, I got to turn this episode off. It's rough.
It's hard to deal
readers.
It's hard to deal with watching a lot of that kind of stuff, because it's like at some point you really do start to rationalize it. So much of it is so close to home too.
Yeah, for me, I've been watching a lot of Explore with Us for all you fans. Yeah, but it's crazy because this is like actual. These are caught and imprisoned killers, but it's interrogation room interviews. And they talk a lot about like the Reed technique and all this kind of stuff and all this psychological analysis. And I'm starting to and I have to, because because I'm not educated enough in this. So there was a month or so where I was hyper-analyzing everybody. Suddenly I was like, oh man, this shit's actually starting to bleed through into my life, because I'm like having some trust issues, and like everyone's a piece of shit. Everyone's murdering everyone. Like kind of thought process. I'm like, wait a second, you gotta slow down. These are extreme cases, especially when it comes to this. Like when it happens, it's just incredibly precarious, specific circumstances, and you can never expect it to always happen. So it's not, as much as it's normal, it's not everywhere. And especially when the people that you want to love and trust, you got to like literally take a step back from that, because it made me honestly sympathize with a lot of the things that detectives have to go through, especially if they have failed marriages and unhappy families, and they're not doing so much. They get lied to all the time, so often. So props to you who aren't dicks.
Who aren't dicks.
Oh, yeah. Sidebar. Yu-Gi-Oh! VR totally exists 2 years ago.
No,
So
I'm
if you want to try it.
Oh, you fell from my trap card, Yuki.
Yes.
No,
yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, unless, I don't know, my real true love for Yu-Gi-Oh! Extends as far as the first 4 seasons of like late 90s, early 2000s series. Yep. I'm obsessive of bad things. Like I love bad movie content and pop culture, like bad culture content, whatever the coining is for it. But if it's bad, I love it. And the first
classic.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like the first episode, Kaiba shows up, like challenges Grandpa to a duel, and then rips up his own, like the Blue Eyes White Dragon card is worth like the same as a Black Lotus. He's like, fuck you, old man, and just tears it up the first episode. 5 minutes haven't even passed.
Yeah. It's because, and this is the biggest problem when it comes to...
I am the only one with Blue Eyes
White Dragon this is the biggest problem when it comes to anybody who's like talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not even that big of a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't get me wrong, great property, but I'm gonna be a little hipster on y'all here, Yu-Gi-Oh! Hipster. If you've only seen the manga, or no, if you've only read watch the anime, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Go read the manga right goddamn now, because like the first huge chunk of the thing has nothing to do with Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like just Japanese kid life, them fighting gangs of kids who are like using yo-yos as weapons, which is like a real thing in Japan. Literally like youth gangs using yo-yos as actual weapons.
Terrifying.
Well, we're all millennials here. Beyblade shit, right?
And then it gets into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff, and then there's literally I think it's called like House of M or something. It's literally in a whole arc where they go to Kaiba's mansion. And he forces them to play a bunch of like Russian roulette-esque games, to like different tabletop games, not just Yu-Gi-Oh!, just like all of these different kind of things. Like one of them is literally like it's a lazy Susan of poisoned food, and it's like
I never knew it went this
whoever oh yeah, and it's like a legitimate like he's like Kaiba's trying to murder the entire like core crew. Like he ends up like poisoning Joey or something at some point. It's like all these mind games to get the cure. That it's. Read the manga for
he's my favorite character.
It is a ride.
For having a queer coded character in an anime like Pegasus, I hope he survives in the manga. He's such a I love him. I love Pegasus. He's so extra. I
have no idea what you guys are talking about.
It's just a foreign language.
It's just a foreign language, dude. It's all good. It's all good. Not all millennials have to be in the same clique, right?
Yeah. Right. You're right.
I just outed our age.
You're right. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm very clearly.
I mean, you're only 23, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Fresh and young. 23. Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that we were going to kind of go over the story for what's going to happen in Magic recently.
Oh yeah.
It's a little late for you guys watching it. You are all caught up. We were just kind of talking about it before we started recording.
If you want to jump into this, I don't feel confident enough to comment on it because I don't know for certain.
I'll just hop into the little anecdote. We were talking about like everybody being worried about Teferi.
Yeah, I'll read what I wrote in my notes for a podcast topic.
Yeah.
It was a topic was hoping that Wizards doesn't take this Phyrexian domination story straight to the Teferi just turns back time and none of it happened cop out.
Yeah. No.
And I don't know. I think they sort of did, and you're saying they sort of didn't.
No, they did.
They didn't. No.
They did, but they didn't in the most fantastical way.
Doesn't Teferi fix it all with time magic?
No.
Nope.
So what happened is Teferi effectively went to another plane. He planeswalked, but he went back in time to that plane. I can't remember what it's called. Do you want to try and look that up?
Zalfir.
Zalfir. Okay.
Yeah. Zalfir. He went back in time to Zalfir and was like, listen, in the future, Elish Norn's taking the fuck over. The future is fucked. Prepare your plane. we're going to war. And then Realmbreaker is then like a group of like Chandra and a few
Ren.
Chandra and a few others basically are just making a bum rush to get Ren, like Ren and 6, Ren and 7, to the Realmbreaker tree.
Yeah, somebody confused with it.
And it fuses with it. And it's like weird. She basically talks to this little seedling that's been like mutated out from the Phyrexians and uses it to reach out into the planes in something that she's never been able to do before, to just find Teferi. She managed to find, like, come into contact like with Teferi. Huge portal opens up, sort of thing. And he's like, okay, like
This is Chandra?
No, this is Ren, who's reaching out across the planes.
Ren is a she, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
think Ren might be one of the non-binary characters.
Very androgynous.
Yeah.
They do write them like a lot of like in a very feminine aspect, but I don't know if they are.
I think I recall in hearing the description of some of these stories that I did hear someone referring to Ren as she. But
yeah, it's she.
It's she.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a very
she's a dryad, and dryads historically are female.
Yeah.
Even mythologically.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So yeah, she connects to Realmbreaker, they break through, they get in contact with the ferry, and then the assault starts. They just start spilling through. It literally just reversed that. Ren basically opens up Realmbreaker to allow Zhalfir and basically everybody else start coming out like from anywhere and everywhere that they can to launch the assault back on.
And from what I heard, it like Zhalfir opens a portal with Phyrexia or wherever
with new Phyrexia,
and because they're in different times or they have like magnetic polarity that's off, they're like pulling each other into their old spaces or something, and it's
something like that.
Totally screwing with. Yeah, it's
in this card actually it does say that Kaervik in this weird conflicts of story and all this kind of shit, Kaervik gets he escapes his Amber prison, which is super fun. Kaervik fans.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
Kaervik the Merciless, Mr. Classic horrible Rakdos commander.
Yeah. So yeah, they did. It was kind of Teferi doing time magic stuff, but it wasn't like we went back in time and we stabbed baby Elish Nor.
Yeah. Well, so my question is, what happens? Like I was under the impression that like all of the Phyrexian planeswalkers were healed or cured or reversed.
Not yet, but so all we know out of cards and lore, unless there's been an update that I haven't checked yet,
or something, or some kind of newfound.
So they don't lose their souls when they're Phyrexianized. It's just like their bodies are grafted into these like.
I guess their
machines.
minds are just bound to the notion of
Melira was working on a cure.
Her blood.
Yeah, her blood, and she managed. I don't know if they've fully in the story yet, but they were making good grounds of curing Ajani.
Yeah, apparently she does. I think with her dying breath. Save Ajani or something.
She
does.
Melira sacrifices herself. I guess that's her ability.
Yeah.
Total flavor. Because you sacrifice her and then she does.
But I guess Jace and Vraska were left on red. Like Jace did something to Vraska where it wasn't implied that they planeswalked away, but like something happened.
Yeah.
And then I don't think they.
Well, I hope they're bumping Phyrexian nasties finally.
I think actually in the story it's implied that they fucked on a beach.
I really hope that they're just really enjoying themselves.
So that would have been like back in.
They really needed it ever since Ixalan.
It was like in the story. What is it? Jace like appears to Vraska and she has to be like, was this an illusion you planted or are you real? And it's like he's real. And it's right before, I guess they have a moment.
Oh, right before he becomes Phyrexianized.
No, they're both in the process of being Phyrexianized.
Are you talking about in the arena moment with the flavor text of the art from, because Vraska and him, he creates an illusion right before he basically gets completely like stabbed through and stuff.
So that's before, that's in the older stories. This is the March of the Machines.
Oh, okay, cool. I don't know.
Story.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
And then Jace does something, I think, that takes them both somewhere and it's not explained where.
Yeah, okay.
So that they don't know what's happening to those characters. I think it's super cool. Apparently they did 18 small stories to wrap up what was happening. And the stories were all about the different planes. You can read the one about Ixalan, the one about New Capenna, the one about Ravnica, all sorts of like...
there was one that was leaked about things happening on Ixalan, Zakama apparently murdered one of the Phyrexianized elder dinosaurs that got
Atali's now Phyrexianized.
It was Atali got Smout.
Atali got a new Atali that got
we're getting it released in March.
It's a cool Atali. That's fun.
It is terrifying.
Is it?
It's slightly the first Atali is slightly weaker. It's like
the front side.
The front side is slightly weaker. It's basically still
it's
the
transform.
Same, it's basically still the same Atali. I can't remember.
But it triggers once.
Yeah, it only triggers once.
It's an ETB. It does the flip and rip or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when you transform it, it's like what is it, a 15-15 with toxic 11?
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's really...
Or no, it's an 11-11 with however much damage it deals.
Oh yeah, you get that you give
poison.
It's basically
so it's a one-shot kill.
Yeah, it's basically toxic. But
so Atali Primal Conqueror Trample. When it enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. Okay, you may cast any number of spells from among. Oh, until they hit a non-land. Oh, wait, no, what? That's even stronger than it was. So when it ETBs, yeah. So
read it again.
So when Atali Primal Conqueror enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. Woof!
Oh, you may cast. You're guaranteed to get them.
Yeah, you're guaranteed to get them now.
Oh, that's.
You may cast any number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying the mana cost. So blah blah blah. And then for 9 mana with 1 Phyrexian, I think it's green.
Yep.
Transforms only as a sorcery. And then let's look this up.
Yeah, I like
Wait, is there a flip?
No, there's not.
The new Atali.
It'll just be right here.
Disgusting. I'm so excited for my dinosaur deck.
Atali Primal Sickness. Trample Indestructible. Oh my goodness.
Very great art.
Yeah.
Atali Indestructible. When Atali deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters. Okay, so it has.
It has infect, but
it's infect, not infect.
It doesn't. It still deals damage.
Yeah.
Instead of just -1/-1 counters.
I'm not gonna lie. I would rather never transform it. I don't think I'd ever transform it myself.
You have to.
No, you don't have to transform.
No, you don't have to.
But the cool thing is
the art's kind of a whiff. In my opinion,
you don't
too.
like it?
It's okay. It's a Terminator dino.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I don't know. It's kind of okay. I really like the new approach to what the designs are going. So if it was like, I guess it's more. I would want to know how he got infected. But yeah, no, this version, I would love to see that blinked. That'd be so weird.
Yeah, that was my first thought too. What can you, if you were to build a commander deck with this new Atali and you got red and green?
It would only be Conjurer's Closet and a sort of Hearthstone Home, and
so Stranic Resonator would still work to double it, right? Because it's a triggered ability.
Yep. Yeah, any of those. So yeah, you can add.
You can still mess with
Stranic Resonator. I was going to say Rings of Brighthearth, but I don't. That's not. Stranic Resonator has very specific wording. So
Rings
I think
of Brighthearth, I believe, is whenever you activate an ability.
Yeah. So it would be. Yeah. No. Stranic Resonator is the big cheese there.
Yeah, because Stranic Resonator is a house in my
that's
deck.
broken. Primal Conqueror.
I'd say your better option would probably be like using the green for a little bit of graveyard play and just doing a lot of like graveyard bouncing with it.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, like it's still. I like it. I like it because it's a 7 mana. Like it enters the battlefield and you get it right away. You don't have to wait until you attack the next turn with normal Atali. Yeah. So you spend your 7 mana on this card and you're getting a lot of value.
You're getting a lot
every time. You don't even have to blink it.
I'm looking at the art now for the Primal Sickness and look at all these like planes showing up. It looks like Shieldred's shenanigan tentacles are spreading. That might not be specific to her, but it'd be cool if like once this gets reversed and the Phyrexians get their due, that Mirrodin reclaimed, assuming, becomes like a weird central hub for the multiverse because of how the world tree is now interconnected to
Toronto.
Wouldn't that be Wouldn't that be interesting though? That'd be kind of cool. It'd be like, well, the Gatewatch is smout for now. So maybe that'll be a new kind of interjection to some cool new stuff happening. Because otherwise, I would prefer if at least some of the Planeswalkers stayed Phyrexianized.
Yeah.
Like, please bring back Nissa. I was so emotionally upset by that. Johnny, a lot of people were upset, but Nissa.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Oh, actually,
no.
One of the topics that I wrote down that I wanted to bring up, and now that it's totally relevant, one thing that I didn't realize, but I found out elsewhere, is that all of the Planeswalkers that had their completed versions, all of the completed versions artwork was reminiscent of one of their previous famous art, their Planeswalker cards. Like Nissa's is the same as one of her previous ones, where like she's holding the staff and something else.
Oh,
and the completed one is her in the exact same position, and the staff is now like part of her arm.
Yeah, I know.
It's like each
the art is phenomenal, but I don't like it in the story.
Yeah.
Like then the cards really don't.
But that's okay because we potentially have the cure, which means proper 5-color Omnath.
Yeah, but how much is the cure?
Yeah.
Like imagine them. Like they went through some physical changes. Like how much will they be cured? Yeah. I think Johnny will be one exception because he looks pretty intact. But I think like Vraska, she's going to be permanently fucked.
The art that
Mrs. Arms all.
The art that I saw for it was kind of done in a weird way where it almost was kind of like magical white, like whiteboard, where it was like this whole part of him was cured and looked normal, and then it was the rest.
Well, in the story, when he revealed his betrayal, when he was like, "Aha, I'm a sleeper agent," his body opened up in a weird way. So I think again, it really depends on how much changes really happen. I can assume, especially if they get their, if everything's starting to work, and maybe Nissa's arm needs to get removed in some kind of like there's lots of technology probably from Kaladesh or any of these really sophisticated places that can just replace it. So we'll see how it goes. It's just like Nissa remade, you know.
I mean, we are living like this. Like this game does live in a world of magic as well. Yeah, it very well could be as simple as just like, and your magic just makes you back to the way you were.
Maybe the cure will like remembers the
you are cured.
Maybe the cure itself, like when they're cured, it remembers the genetic makeup and body. Maybe they still have to go through, because apparently the completion is horribly painful. Like they go through everything. Ajani's transformation, no, Tamiyo's completion was an experiment. Ajani's completion was the beginnings of a perfected sequence of medical torture, basically, like nanomachine, like cellular level torture. Cenobites take notes. Like, fuck me, that would be bad. Oh, that'd be so painful. But I'd still go through it.
Yeah,
I want better teeth.
Yeah, it's okay though. You won't have to. You want better teeth. You won't have to. Alice Norn is dead.
Yep. Did she get killed?
A dagger through, a angelic blade through the fucking chest.
Yeah. Archangel Elspeth. Yep. She had a chat with Sarah in the
multiverse,
Blind Eternities.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Came back as an archangel. So and apparently Elish Norn was fucking terrified. Of that happening. So Elish Norn basically apparently in the written part, I heard that like when Elspeth appears and basically like stares down Elish Norn, is like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Elish Norn is enraged and is like throwing anything and anything she can get her hands on at her, just like fucking pissed, and apparently grabs Vorinclex's fucking horn and like rips it from his head and throws it at Elspeth. And she's just in a fit of rage, and then Elspeth basically is just like charges her and drives a fucking blade through her.
She has a Sigarda moment in the Crimson Vow wedding scene. Yeah, that's nice. I love that.
Wizards, and this is a call to you, not that you're ever gonna see this. Or like unlikely to. The cinematic for this set, phenomenal. They've all been phenomenal, especially like you really started popping off with them and turning them into like their own little like mini movies. They're great. Please expand them. I'm not saying a TV show. I'm not saying put that much budget.
I'm saying give us
a if it's possible, give us a 15-minute to 20-minute cinematic like that. Because you haven't seen it yet. I don't know if you've seen it. The cinematic is great.
The writers,
all of that you just said, none of that is in the cinematic.
She stands there in the cinematic, and then she screams. Flying things come from behind.
She screams some flying things, and then it's just sword through the heart, and it's done. And it's like, what?
If the writers took charge, and this is the only content, because I want to jump on the show idea. The only way I'd support this, the only thing the only content I've ever seen that's been made from a video game or game series that literally had me shooketh to my soul's core, to my spark, one might say, was Arcane. And that I for a show that was created from League of Legends, literally shooketh. Oh, yeah. So I think the studio, maybe not necessarily the studio, but the writers, the crew, the people responsible for the sheer ridiculous integrity of that series, if they were in charge and spearheaded that, I would have a lot of faith.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so many groups there too, like the team that went behind not Dracula, Castlevania on Netflix.
Oh,
yeah, the Castlevania series too.
No, take it back.
Yeah.
Well, season 4 is a bit dry, but no. It is. It's all talk. They got really flowy. They just wanted the texture and the ASMR moments of the voices.
But vampire mommies.
And daddies.
Oh,
God, they're so hot. Everyone in that show, except for the obvious ghouls and shit. Oh, I just want to bet all of them. Just rolling them. Just rolling some.
And that's our show.
Yeah. I'm hungry for that vampire D. All right.
Yeah. Is there anything else you boys
want to bring up? I think we've had a great.
I think the episode is good so far. I mean, I have just so much stuff to talk about, but I think that there's topics that could take whole episodes in themselves. So I want to get into them now.
Yeah.
Okay. We are dangerously close to releasing this channel. Right now, as we're recording, we're still in the whole pre-planning stages, right? We're crushing it. trying to get everything ready to release.
And just on a workflow that like we're not going to be behind, where we can just record and be done, post stuff for you all to enjoy.
Yeah, we got nearly all of our kinks worked out.
Yeah.
Except for the ones that always pop up every day.
Which is always just the start.
Yeah.
It's like, why are my mics working? God damn it, the freaking cameras.
Technology is...
it's always the cameras and the mics. That's it.
But, I think that was great. I think the games today were awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I got to play Evra and do the thing that it does, but also
almost
get shut down. And then I almost eked out a win with the Approach of the Second Sun, which came out of nowhere, right? I was looking at my hand every turn in that game, and I was like, there's no way I'm doing anything here. And then I was like, wait, I might have this. Anyways, enjoy those episodes. And we will be back on another episode of the Rogues Passage podcast.
Have a good night.
Have a very good night.
See you later.
Bye.